It's cost of living is it's ridiculous. I guess it went from I was living paying $380 a month. Some company bought most of the units up here and put us all out. And now rents are $1,100. I mean, if you're working, that's fine. If you're not working, it puts you on the street. And there was 100 people here a month and a half ago, at least 100, 103 I think we counted in total, that were out. Husbands and wives with children. It was ridiculous. And then trying to live in the tent, there was embankments all up and behind Ganongs. They were all across from the Canadian Tire, and then they just and they run them out. And I don't know, what's the province doing?
You were telling me before we started filming that some people have the wrong idea of who's homeless. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, they think that if you're homeless, you're either on drugs, an alcoholic, and that's not the way it is. I've met some, it could be anybody. Like, it could happen to you. I mean, everybody's a paycheck away from being put out. Right? Like, it's ridiculous. Rocks have been thrown at people, bricks. Gordy got hit with a brick. He's 60. How old is Gordy? 65? And he was sleeping behind the bar downtown here. I used to stop by and see him because I just knew him and his wife from years ago. I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "We can't afford the rent." You know, cost of living, grocery store is ridiculous. Since COVID, or whenever it ended, everything went. What you'd pay $230, $40 for is now like $500. So it's like doubled.
Tell me about your long history of work in and around this community.
Well, I worked at the port, right, in St. Andrews, Bayside, for Woodstock Cold Storage. And that was pretty much when the COVID hit. My eyes were just starting to go. The cataracts in one of my eyes, and then it come to the other one, and I had to leave work. And, you know, I've got carpentry, so I painted some houses in St. John for a year. And then after that, run out, come back down here because I had a wife and kids here. My kids are still here. And I looked we separated, and I looked for a affordable rent. I found one up here. It was good for a year, and then, I don't know who it is. A lady from Ontario or somewhere, so Starshine or something, Estates or whatever, bought all the buildings up and kicked us all out. 20-some units, I think. There was 18 in the two buildings, and they put everybody out. Like, where are you going to go?
And can you tell me where you're mostly sleeping now and what that's like?
It's cold, right? It's cold outside, right? So you can't get a rent. Anybody who lived in what they considered to be a low-income houses, or the units that were sold to this lady, they won't, if you rented from this person, they won't rent to you. Nobody else will rent to you. And it's like, what do you, like, I went for a rent, I'd give the guy the money, and when I went to move in, he'd give me my money back. He said, "I didn't know, you're on the list." I said, "What list? What is this list?" He said, "Well, you rented from Mr. Sullivan." I said, "So?" "Yeah, for over a year. Great guy." Right? He had affordable housing. Right? And they said, "Oh, well, all I know is that I'm sorry, I can't rent to you. Give me my money back." So it was like looking for another place, and that was 11 months ago. Right?
Darren, if decision makers are listening, maybe the government, what do you want them to know, or what do you want them to do?
Whatever they can, right? Like, there's a lot of people on the street. There's kids on the street. I've seen 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds sleeping behind buildings, in dumpsters. It's crazy, you know? Like, why? I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't, This isn't like it's a small town. $1,100 for a single room and a bathroom is ridiculous. Like, how is that? We're not in Toronto, right? Even Fredericton, I don't think is this bad. Or I don't know because I haven't been up that way, but St. John isn't this bad. You can go to St. John and get an apartment down there, but my kids are here. I don't want to go to St. John.
How do you, when it's below zero, how do you stay warm?
Keep moving. Right? Just keep moving as best you can. But it's not warm. You're not warm. Like Keith knows, we come down here. This is supposed to be for, like, he helps with mental health and the recreation with them stuff. But we kind of, like, he's a nice guy, and he lets us come in and have coffee and, sit around, talk, and what would you call it? Trying to come up with ideas, and he tries to help as much as he can. Try to, call people, rents, and this and that. Just whatever he can do. He goes out and above, he does. But I don't know, who is it now? Higgins is there? What's he doing? This is a small town. I couldn't imagine what other places are like. How many people are on the street. And it's been 11 months. I don't like it. I'm too old to be sleeping outside. Right.
Thank you so much, Darren. I hope that your story reaches a lot of people.
Well, I hope they do something. The government needs to do something. Right? Like, it's a small town. Rural communities used to be set up. St. Stephen, I'm shocked that it doesn't have a hostel. It has a women's hostel, but not a men's. Why? This is 2023.
A news and public affairs production of CHCO TV, New Brunswick's only source for independent community television.